Millennials have a lot going on for them. A recent study shows they're better educated than the rest of us. They're more ethnically diverse and more economically active. But here's the problem. The Fox 5 I-Team's Dana Fowle says millennials are the most financially illiterate. Dana, good morning.
And that is a really big deal when you're considered the face of the future. 34% of millennials, the study says, are unhappy with their financial situations. We understand that. But here it is. They lack the tools to fix it. You're going to meet someone who was in that same rut, but she turned things around. This now old laptop was the beginning of Melissa Newton's dive into debt.
I know the first purchase that it started with was I needed a new laptop. Like, oh, I'll just pay it off. And no, you start piling stuff out, other things on top of it.
She was young, having fun, just out of college, working as a journalist, living on her own in Decatur. 2008, this was your first job out of college?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
And journalism's not known for its, high pay.
Right. No, unfortunately not. It's a fun job.
Yeah.
But not a very high-paying job.
Still, she kept buying and charging for everyday purchases like groceries and gas and, of course, going out with friends.
Those things start to add up. And then I got another credit card because I wanted to transfer the balance to maybe get a lower interest rate. Mm-hmm. But then I kept using that other card.
Sound familiar? Well, for young people today, ages 23 to 35, it's their story. Here's a peek at a recent study that highlights this generation's relationship with money and debt. 54% say they're afraid they can't pay off their student loans. 30% of millennials are overdrawing on their checking accounts, and only 36% even have a retirement account. And many, like Melissa, are up to their necks in credit card debt.
So about $4,000 that I had, and my payments were high. And I got to a point where I couldn't make the payments.
And that was the cold water in the face she needed.
Groceries and household supplies now.
She went to ClearPoint, a nonprofit credit counseling center. Credit counselor Trinette McLean says millennials have an all too familiar pattern forming.
As soon as you graduate, you have student loan debt. Well, can't pay the student loan debt. You gotta get a job. Well, the job is not there. So you might take a job that's less than the income that you want, which means you don't have as much financial flexibility, which means the credit cards look enticing.
And so the debt spiral begins. Melissa, like many others before her, consolidated her debt so it was more manageable, but it still took, she estimates, 7 years to pay off that $4,000. In the meantime, she met her future husband and had to tell him about her financial baggage.
I was nervous to tell him, listen, we're about to merge our lives and I have some debt that I'm still paying off.
She and her husband have no credit card debt. They live below their means. They own a home, have a new baby. They're a success story, and she has advice for young people before they go to college. Consider whether your dream job will actually pay the bills.
I didn't think about, okay, how much money am I going to make? How am I going to manage my finances? Not at all.
You just wanted to be a journalist?
Yeah, I just wanted to live on my own and have a car and,
What would you say to the younger Melissa?
Save. You don't need it right now.
You said that to any generation, don't you? I have two things on my Facebook page for you to check out. First, that study. I got to tell you, it's really interesting. It's easy to read, lots of neat graphics, colors. I recommend checking it out. And the ClearPoint Credit Counseling Solutions website. Check that out. There's a link there. It's a nonprofit group that will help you get out of debt. Now, I like this generation. They're funny, they're clever, they're interesting, and the deck is stacked against them a little bit.
Very much so.
With just housing. So it's a little harder for them than it was, say, for me or you.
They have to be careful of those fraudulent companies that make those big promises as well, correct?
Yeah, those clean up your debt companies. Be really careful about those. If anybody's offering you a promise that you're going to get out of debt quickly, that's not true. Turn around and go the other way. It took years for it to happen. It's going to take a while to climb out of it. It's like gaining weight. Didn't happen overnight. And as you can tell from Melissa, she got help, but it was still hard work. Took her 7 years. Each year gets easier, but it's going to take a while.
Glad she did it, though. Dana, thank you very much.